Okay, so Omid Scobie's Endgame is finally out, and I said in my last video that I expected it to be, as much as the word sickens me, milk toast. I expected Omid Scobie's Endgame to be very bland. You know, all of the leaks that have been coming out in various publications over the last couple of weeks have been very much light digs at the royal family, light virtue signalling, sort of defending Meghan Markle. Nothing too controversial. I thought he was just going to go in for a little bit of, dipping my toe in, sitting on the fence, cashing in on a bit more Harry and Meghan before the embers finally get put out once and for all, right? On this whole ugly episode of our lives. But no, I was absolutely wrong. I used one of my Audible credits to get the Audible version of Omid Scobie's Endgame. And from what I can see or hear so far, it is a 14-hour rant of, I don't know what to call it, sociopathy. It's like the Joker's manifesto. He's living in an alternate reality. It's amazing. You're going to love it. I'm going to reveal some of the things that are in his book today. We're going to take a look at some of the best bits that I've come across so far. Okay, let's do that.
Chapter 7. Race and the Royals. Institutional Bigotry and Denial.
Race and the Royals. Institutional bigotry and denial. Now, credit where it's due, Omid. This chapter does exactly what it says on the tin. And I've just got to say to you all, don't get your blood all angried up, all right, listening to this. Yes, it is kind of provocative, the stuff that he says. It is annoying to listen to, but, he's just trying to make... Remember, Omid is just trying to make some money. And if he starts a race war in the process... Soz!
You could practically hear the eye rolling in her voice. Well, we could already guess what someone like her would be like. I saw it coming from miles away. At a March 2021 meeting in her Kensington Palace apartment, Princess Michael of Kent, wife of the Queen's first cousin, Prince Michael of Kent, couldn't stop herself from indulging in gossip with an aide about Meghan.
So there we have our first bombshell of this particular chapter. Princess Michael of Kent is officially a racist because she didn't like Meghan.
Princess Michael has never been much of a fan of Prince Harry's wife, and as she busily chatted on about the Sussex's primetime Oprah Winfrey interview, she let her drawling emphasis on certain words do all the talking.
Oh, well, that's bloody awful, and putting emphasis on certain words and stuff. She didn't have to say anything technically racist, just, if you put too, you're drawling. The drawling. I mean, it would be helpful, Omid, if you could tell us which words she overemphasised, before we drag the 77-year-old woman out into the street and stone her to death.
The 77-year-old former interior designer had just spent most of the week with publishing contacts to discuss a proposal she was working on at the time. So she spoke freely and with confidence when she said, "Meghan's made it all about race, because that's all everyone does these days."
What a dinosaur. Jesus, Princess Michael, get a clue. If there is one thing people do not do nowadays, it's make everything about race.
No, 1,000 times no.
Her remarks didn't surprise those within earshot, including my source.
Excuse me?
Her remarks didn't surprise those within earshot, including my source.
So, the 77-year-old Princess Michael of Kent is a racist because she apparently made some remarks a couple of years ago about not really liking Meghan Markle. And she may or may not have put the emphasis of those words on certain syllables. According to Omid Scobie, according to his anonymous source who was apparently there. I'm ready to cast the first stone, guys.
This is the same royal who at a 2017 family Christmas lunch arrived at her first meeting with biracial Meghan Markle wearing a blackamoor brooch pinned to her coat lapel.
Yes, she wore a blackamoor brooch and she looked $1 million. If I turned this camera around, you'd be disgusted. The only ornaments I have in my house are blackamoor. There's little tables everywhere being held up by blackamoor men. It is a little excessive.
Blinded by unconscious bias or just callously indifferent, it's hard to say. But she certainly failed to recognise the cultural insensitivity of wearing a brooch featuring a highly exoticized bust of a black man in servant regalia, much less how others might react to such a thoughtless choice.
Look, all I'm going to say, it's a lovely brooch and I want it. On a serious note though, can we please just get over the fact that a 70-something-year-old princess is wearing some family heirloom on her lapel, okay? That may or may not be appropriate, right? I don't think you'd go to Saudi Arabia and criticise what the sheikhs are wearing. So, you know, if you're that thin-skinned, if you can't get over the fact that some 70-year-old woman, a princess, might have a few, perhaps, slightly, non-PC views, I don't know. You're not prepared for this world.
She later apologised for the indiscretion, though never directly to Meghan.
Why would she apologise to Meghan? I'm sorry. Meghan grew up in immense privilege compared to 99.9% of the world. Right? I've got no problem with that. I don't care if people are born rich or poor or whatever. It is what it is. You can't help it. Okay? But the fact that she would have... How many slaves has Princess Michael owned? How long was Meghan on a slave plantation? Why... No, why would she... I can understand why she might apologise, because it's a bit of a faux pas to wear, a slave brooch. But aside from that, why would she have to apologise to Meghan?
But, according to sources, the princess still shrugs and wrinkles her lip when the subject comes up. I don't think she particularly cared, a senior royal source told me.
Oh, another source, right. Another source has told you, Omid, that apparently when the subject comes up, the 77-year-old princess, and when they remind her, which never happens, when they remind her, oh, you remember that time you wore that insensitive slave brooch? Do you remember that? Apparently she shrugs her shoulders and wrinkles her lips. She goes, humbug.
Princess Michael wasn't alone in nonchalantly deciding the resulting outcry over her blackamoor accessory, a style first popularised in the 17th century, was over the top. The same source revealed that some in the family rushed to comfort her afterward. They didn't feel the media onslaught was fair. Meghan, I'm told, did not receive any such overtures.
Call me crazy, but I would expect in the aftermath of Slave Brooch Gate, the person who would be most affected by it would be the person who was getting attacked in the press for wearing the slave brooch. Princess Michael. And so I'd go to the 70-year-old woman in my family that I've known all my life. I'd sort of go, oh, don't worry. We've all worn blackamoor from time to time. It's we're not all perfect. Why would you go? It would seem racist to me to go to Meghan and go, are you okay? Because, slaves and you're... I'm sorry.
But then, failing to recognise racial or cultural insensitivities is a common theme among certain members of the royal family, and a number of those working for and around them. This was but yet another example of ugly systemic racism bubbling to the top.
Is it though?
Look, I hate ugly systemic racism as much as the next man. But I just think when Grandma comes round for Christmas and she's wearing a slave brooch, we just need to, laugh and move on. We need to get over it, okay? We can't... Life is too short to be angry about Grandma's faux pas.
He's a homo.
Princess Michael, I was only joking. I don't think we should drag you out into the street and stone you. Quite the opposite. I think we should celebrate you. You adorable old grandma, you.
You're a homo.
For God's sakes, William, put Mommy to bed already.
Anyway, we're just getting started with this book. It's absolutely brilliant. With each sentence, it gets more and more amazing. So it's getting late now. Give this video a like. I need 10,000 likes to make the next one tomorrow. Otherwise, I just won't feel inspired. All right. And thank you, Omid Scobie, for writing this book and for reading the audio. I mean, it really is. It's something else. Endgame. I love you, Omid. I love your big, soulful, almost bovine eyes. Yeah. And that's about all from me today. I'll see you in the next one. See you tomorrow, hopefully, if I get 10,000 likes.
I'll be in my room painting. Homo things.